My name is Dalvin Powell. I'm the president of the United Probation Officers Association. I've been the president of the union since 2016. I'm a native of the Bronx, a graduate of John Jay College in criminal justice, and my bachelor's is in criminal justice. I am the first African-American woman to hold this position. UPOA stands for United Probation Officers Association, which consists of less than 700 probation officers. I represent supervising probation officers, probation officer trainees, and probation officers assistants. In order to become a probation officer, you have to have a bachelor's degree with some experience or a master's degree. About 80% of my members are females, and about 85% are people of color. We have so many different responsibilities that we do, right? When people think about probation, they think just about the supervision component and how we oversee those persons once they're sentenced to probation. But there's a whole different other parts of probation that people have failed to understand or know about. Is that's our front end, where the probation officers who have to do the assessments, we do background checks of people who are either not even sentenced to probation yet. It's not even about sentencing, it's about the reports that we do help the courts decide how they're going to sentence a person, whether to probation or to community service, or to sentence them to a term of time in custody, whether that be jail time or state time. Probation officers' objective is to make sure that these people that's on probation is going to comply with the conditions of probation. And there's a check-off list of what they're supposed to be doing. The basic one is remain law-abiding, get a job, go to school, and do what you're supposed to be doing. But it might be based on the person's needs, then there might be some additional services that might be applied to that person's conditions of probation. Our objective is for them to be successful. Like I said, when we do our job, then those individuals become, once again, the law-abiding citizens that we want them to be. I feel like probation is the solution to all these. When they talk about all this criminal justice reform, I find it amazing how they tend to, in my opinion, they tend to overlook us and understand the value of what a probation officer's contribution is to the criminal justice system. Probation is the alternative to incarceration. Many people don't understand that when a person is not sentenced to some time in jail or in prison, the alternative to that is a person being sentenced to probation. We supervise men, women, and youth who's a part of the criminal justice system that we consider made a mistake, and our objective is to try to get them to become law-abiding citizens and have productive lives. That's our main objective. In addition to being an alternative to incarceration, probation is a cost savings to the city and the state. What it would cost to have somebody for example, in Rikers, is far less than what it is to have a person sentenced to probation, far less. So think about it. Probation is community corrections without the gates, and nobody seems to, I don't know if they really get it. I really don't know if they understand. You hear somebody say somebody got probation, and it's like kind of goes over their head. Like, really, what does it mean to be on probation? So probation is like community corrections, but we also hold them accountable while they're allowed to remain in the community, to be amongst their families and their friends and get the services that they need. People need to also understand that whoever is sentenced to a term of jail time or prison time is the same people that we have on probation. And since the criminal justice reform, our caseload and the people that's on probation have gotten more dangerous each and every day. Like I said, it's a cost savings in so many different ways. We have a fraction of what it costs to have a person in custody. Now, let me just say this carefully. Everybody can't be on probation, and that's real. Let's be real about it. Everybody doesn't, nor does everybody need to go to jail neither. So it's also, like I said, it's about striking those balances and trying to figure out what's the right fit for those individuals, right? So once we find the fit, then we work accordingly. But probation, to me, is the solution to a lot of the criminal justice reform that they're talking about. And they need to really take advantage of the skills and what we have to offer. I think that one of the problems that as a profession, people don't understand the role of probation officers, what their job is and what it requires. I find, especially since being in this seat, that it's really downplayed a lot. And it's like I said before, it's not utilized the way it should be used. Then again, it's like it pick and choose when they wanted to use it. But the recognition of the role of a probation officer is not recognized the way it should be. We tend to get confused with so many other agencies and professions other than who we really are. I have had city officials say to me, I don't have a clue who you are and what y'all do. And that's really sad, because my thing is, how can you give us what we need or even come to the table and have a conversation with us when you don't even know who we are? right? So right now I find myself educating and advocating. I have to wear all these different hats. I have to advocate, I got to educate people and explain to them who we are in order for us to get to the simplest things, right? So that's a problem, for them knowing who we are. Then another problem is because they don't know who we are, because we don't get the respect, because they don't value the work that we do, because we're very valuable, right? We don't get paid the way we're supposed to get paid. So when we think about probation, it's a lot of acronyms you can say about probation. We're game changers, we're the agents of change, we plant seeds. There's a lot of things that we do that's good, right? But I don't think people get it. I really don't think that they understand the value of what probation officers do. And that's something that I am pushing for people to really get it. Like I said, we're the solution. We can't solve everything. I'm not going to say we can carry all the weight of the criminal justice issues on our shoulders, but we are definitely the solution that people are looking for. One of the problems that we face as probation officers is that there's a high turnaround rate of people leaving the Department of Probation because of our lack of salaries. And that's a problem that affects the people that we have to provide probation services to, that's sentenced to probation, because we now, let's say for example, I've established a relationship with Joe, and then I leave. And it affects Joe because Joe is like another probation officer. And then we got to talk Joe off the fence and convince Joe that you got to keep pushing, you got to keep trying, because this is all about you. It's not about the probation officer that was on, that's working with you, but about you changing your behavior so that you don't no longer have to be a part of the system. And that's the kind of work that probation officers do. Probation, as far as the criminal justice reform, that's our main objective. That's the whole purpose of probation, is to change behaviors. Public safety is our primary concern. That's the whole thing. And like I said, once you help an individual change their behaviors and you give them the options and show them they can do something different, do something better, like I said, then it all falls into place. Probation is the beginning, the middle, and the end of the whole criminal justice system. I'm not saying this because I'm a probation officer or a supervisor probation officer, but I think that the work of probation officers is absolutely challenging. It's very challenging. I'm going to get emotional, here I go. It's very challenging, and it's not, like I said, it's not valued. To have to help a person or show a person that there's something else other than what they've known, it's a very challenging thing to do. I think of probation officers as that, when you look at the scale of justice, that's who we are. We have to balance that every day of our career, our lives. We have to get those who's in front of us, the client, the probationer, to buy into why we believe that they can do this, that they can make a difference, that we are the ones that make a difference each and every day in these people's lives, right? When we make a difference, like I said, in their lives, then we make a difference in the victims' lives. There's less victimization, there's less crime. And one thing about probation officers, we don't just focus on the person that's on probation, but we also have to focus on the victims as well. We have to give them a voice. When we prepare those reports, we have to give the courts and the system, pretty much we have to illustrate and paint a picture of who's in front of them, right? And we understand that one size does not fit all. One size does not fit all, and that we have to deal with that person and who that person and what that person requires. But the spiritual gratification that you get when somebody comes back and says, thank you, because without you, my life wouldn't be where it's at today. We have had politicians, we have had celebrities, business people, people of all different nationalities come through our office, and because of the work that we do, they are now out in the community themselves, making a difference in somebody's life.